Good morning, all of you. My name Purva Khaladkar. I am the student of the Elite Institute of Pharma Skills, Pune. I'm gonna overview on clinical data management. Objective. Objective includes first, what is clinical data management? Then, different tasks performed in CDM, which is clinical data management. Third, different phases of data management. Fourth, source data and types of studies. Fifth, clinical data management system, which is CDMS. Next, coding process. Then, different clinical databases in market. Next, external data handling. And the last one, safety data reconciliation process. What is clinical data management or CDM? In clinical data management, first of all, skillful handling of clinical trial information to be used for statistical analysis and interpretation by ensuring that the data is or data should be accurate, means collecting the right data the right way. Next, complete means all subject information, all case report forms or CRFs, all visit all pages of case report forms. Next one, consistent, which is in between between sites from source document to CRF to the databases. The fourth one is verifiable, and the next attributable. The legible is the last clinical databases that ensuring the data. CDM in brief. Clinical data management is the clinical phase in clinical research which ensures that data collected in the case report form is of high quality and can perform statistical analysis and interpretation, which is the team members of the CDM clinical data management are actively involved in all the stages of clinical trials, right from the inception to the completion. Clinical data management phases. This is overall chart flow to the clinical data management force description, which is start from the recipient of the final product and ended with the filling and archiving of the study documents and the databases, which is important main functionalized parts is data validation, medical coding and edit check. Next is clinical data management. Clinical data management are subdivided into the 6 categorized form. The first one is database programming, clinic CRF, eCRF, database edit checks and non-EDC checks. The second one is medical coding. The third, discrepancy management data validation, and the next is SAE reconciliation. The second last, the data entry and the batch upload. And the last one of the clinical data management overflow is external data, means external lab or PK. Next one is the source data, which includes source data is the information in original records and certified copies of original records or observations, clinical findings, observations, or other activities in a clinical trial that is necessary for the reconstruction and evaluation of the trial. The next of the source data conclude the subject information, and all the test data is captured in the investigator's patient chart, which is the source document. The source documents concludes investigator's source documents, which is lab reports and images and the scans. Next is ECG reports, electrocardiogram reports. Next is subject diaries and the X-ray reports. Then QOL, questionnaires, conclude the investigator's source documents. Then types of the studies based on the CRF use. The study types are concluded into the two different types. These two types was first is the paper studies and the second is electronic data capture. In the paper studies, use of the paper case report forms, which is CRF, to collection of the data. And the electronic data capture concluded the use of electronic case reports forms, which is eCRF, to collection of the data. The next is data entry. In the data entry, there are the flow chart, which is data entry medium and the paper and an electronic capture. In data entry medium, paper CRF is used and the electronic CRFs is used in the electronic data capture. In performed by paper data entry operator or DEO, electronic data capture site personnel. Double data entry or DDE, in paper format, the data is entered by the two independent individuals. It serves as a peer review and helps to maintain data accuracy. Then electronic data capture, not applicable as data directly entered in system. In screen layout, in paper, data is generally entered and verified using split screen mode. And electronic data capture, the screen layout may be not applicable as directly data is entered in the system. Paper CRF is the traditional way of the data capture using paper forms. And the electronic data capture or EDC is used eCRF to collection of the data. With the evolution of the EDC and technology of the paper, CRF trials are now being very limited. EDC is being preferred over paper CRF as they are less time consuming and since clean data is available on real time. Clinical data management system means CDMS. A clinical data management system or CDMS is used in the clinical research to manage the data of the clinical trial. The clinical trial data gathered at the investigator site in the case report form are stored in the CDMS. Databases are built on the following platforms. First, Oracle Cleaning means OC, paper web. Second one, Clean Trial, which is CT. It concludes paper and RDC. The third one is Inform, which is correlated with the web. And the fourth one is Medidata RAVE, which is in the web format. Following tasks are done in the CDMS, Clinical Data Management System. First one is design the database, and the second one is data enter, update, validate and store. The third one is retrieve the data, and the last is the audit trials. Data entry screen. In data entry screen, the group which is physical examination basis of the height, weight, systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure ratio, does the subject feel dizzy when they standing up from the sitting position, is categorized. The method of the systolic blood pressure divided by the diastolic blood pressure. And the skip condition which is concluded is needs not be collected when the diastolic blood pressure is 90 or higher. Clinical programming. In clinical programming, the tasks performed. These are the various tasks performed. First one, specification development. And next, CRF, database design and build. The third one, edit check programming. Fourth one, user acceptance testing and the database life. The last one is SAS check programming. These are the clear information the various tasks performing. First one, specification development. In specification development of the eCRF referring the protocol and the visit time event tables. CRF database development, in which development of the database, sequencing eCRF in visit and developing the databases. Third one is the edit check programming. In this, for cleaning of data, automatic checks, edit checks and programs. User acceptance testing. User acceptance testing of the database and the edit check, it should be completed. And the database live, the database is released for entry of the subject data before first subject first visit. SAS check programming. These are offline checks developed outside clinical database to clean the data. Data validation. Validation is the process which is performed after data entry is completed, and a process used to determine whether the data that is entered into the database is accurate, complete, or meet specified criteria using edit or logical checks. In case of any discrepancies, a query is sent out to the site for clarification or further information. Discrepancy management system. In discrepancies are identified during data validation or when data is not based on the applicable study protocol. Every discrepancy does not indicate an error with the data, only that the data does not meet expectations. For example, the vitals of the patient are outside the set range like BP, blood pressure is range 80 to 120 and the HR heart rate 80 range of the 70 to 90 and so on. Reason for the discrepancies. These are the following reasons which are affect on the discrepancies. First, an investigator incorrectly reporting a value. Next, a data entry error. And the third one, an incorrect attributed on a question. Example, range or the character in the number. Next, CRF term not coded. An edit check that finds logical errors in the data. Example, start date is after stop date. Validation program that has faulty logic and it should manually review on the logical data. Discrepancies. Discrepancy is an error generated when a validation checks detects a problem with the data. Validation checks are run automatically whenever a page is saved or submitted and can identify problems with a single variable between two or more variables on the same eCRF page or between variables on different pages. A variables can have multiple validation checks associated with it. The note is type of queries and process of the query management we will learn in the separate presentation in details. Coding process. In coding process, these are the flow chart which start by the term data entered in the system and ended up with the statistical reporting. After term data enters in system, it should be go on the auto encoded field exact match and is subdivided into auto encoded and code decisions. In auto encoded, it should be yes and the divided into the statistical reporting. And in coded decisions, the codes are made and goes up to the statistical reporting. And the coded decision is also called as med DRA or WHO drug. The main which is term data enter system is are up to the code decision follow queried the data management and the investigator side which collects the data manager and goes up to the term data entered in the system. These all up is the coding process. Then external data handling. In external data handling, there is no captured in CRF directly. and data loaded at set frequencies. In data manager, responsible to reconcile if data is loaded appropriately or not, and the last term as critical data. Types of external data. These are the 5 types of external data, which is first is lab data, next is PK or PD, and the electrocardiogram, which is ECG, QOL, and the diary data. External data handling. External is the third party, which is vendor data plays important role in evaluating new drugs and determining the safety and the efficacy. Due to the criticality of the data, it is necessary to invest time in qualifying suitable vendors for the study. Third-party vendor data are not directly captured into the CRF and can be collected through outsourced laboratories, which is third-party vendors. Post-sample analysis, these data may be central laboratory data, subject diary information, questionnaires data, pharmacokinetics, and pharmacodynamics. Imagine ECG and so on. The clinical data manager licenses with data providers, which is third-party vendors, and agree data formats and the transfer schedules using DTS, which is data transfer specializations. Considering agreed standard with the sponsor, data will be loaded into the appropriate tool using validated programs, and upon successful data loading, data manager will reconcile and the non-CRF or eCRF data against the CRF data to ensure consistency. Then safety data. Adverse event. An adverse event is an untoward medical occurrence in a patient. Administered a medicine product which does not necessarily have to have a causal relationship with the treatment. Then safety data reconciliation. Safety data reconciliation is the comparison of the data that appeared in the both safety database and clinical database, which is project, and SAE data reporting to both the databases occurs at different times during final data reviews tables from both safety and the project database, which are submitted to regulatory agencies. Safety data reconciliation, which are having the flow pathway of the safety data reconciliation, which is divided into 3 major parts. First, the safety data in SDP and the safety data in PDP in CRF form, and the third one is another round of SAE reconciliation if it is required. The safety data in SDP and the safety data in PDP are collaborated in one form, analyzed data, and the analyzed data is get flow with the document discrepancies in the spreadsheet and the collection of the data clarification form, which is the site response to the DCF, and this DCF is update safety or the project of the DB and the closes the query, which is another round of SAE reconciliation if it is required. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity for giving me to present my knowledge and skills. Thank you for my institute who would like to give me a chance to present this authorized clarification of the clinical data management. Thank you.